arbitration is one of the areas where I practice. I mean, and it's not a very substantial area of my practice in that sense. But because in India, unfortunately, arbitration is a non-starter. And as we all know, it's suffering from various challenges, the arbitration process in India. But yes, arbitration as a subject, as jurisprudentially, is very dear to my heart. And I would definitely like arbitration as an institution to be strengthened in India substantially, because there are about 35 to 40 million pending cases, and it is impossible that our courts can really deliver justice and do it as quickly as society requires them to do or litigants expect them to do. And arbitration has become extremely, I would say, is necessary today, because India economically is on a completely different platform, and commercial disputes really require a very quick and an amicable resolution, which arbitration can provide. Litigation is time consuming. Litigation also results in bitterness to a great extent, and there is no finality. Unfortunately, the arbitration, which really can be an alternative dispute resolution mechanism, is not becoming that in India. It has become one in the Western countries, and even countries like Singapore or, for example, Dubai, where there are great centers of arbitration. We haven't really been able to achieve that objective as yet. But yes, it's a subject where I dabble very, very seriously. I am, I take active interest in the international arbitrating community, which has a great interest in India, because we are one of the largest economies in the world, and we have huge potential of arbitration related disputes coming up. So I today sit on the board of the International Council of Commercial Arbitration, ICA, which is the world's biggest institution in arbitration. I also sit as a board member on the American Arbitration Association, and I'm actively involved with the London Court of International Arbitration, which has fortunately decided to set up the LCIA India chapter in New Delhi and provide an institutional arbitration. I must say that I had a great contribution in their decision making process, and I am happy that they have set up that institution, because in India arbitration is substantially ad hoc, and because it is ad hoc, there are serious shortcomings in arbitration process. It's only institutional arbitrations where there is some amount of institutional control over the arbitrators, the arbitration process, the fees that are being charged, the time and the delays. That's completely absent here. So with the kind of institutions that we can have, we can improve a lot. So I definitely have tremendous interest academically to that effect. Plus, of course, I do accept a lot of briefs as counsel in the arbitrations, both domestic and international, more in international from time to time, because international arbitrations are time bound, and there is a lot of sincerity in those arbitrations, unlike the process in India. So I think arbitration has a great future for the legal community as a whole in times to come. But I think all of us will have to work very hard, young and senior lawyers, as also the judges, because our judges distrust arbitration as a process, and the judges have really put lots of brakes on the arbitration process in India by their judgments with restrictive interpretations. But having said that, yes, there is tremendous interest and opportunities.
So you spoke about the institution supporting arbitration, and but for India to reach the level of arbitration that you think it should, so can you think of any changes that we need to make? Are there any role models in terms of jurisdictions that we can look to?
Yeah, of course. As I said, the first and foremost change we have to make is we have to change our mindset. We must accept that two principles are very important. One is freedom of contracts, and the other is autonomy of parties to decide. Once parties have gone for arbitration, then I think the role that the courts play over the arbitration process must be minimal, and that's really the intention of the 1996 Arbitration Act. Unfortunately, it is forgotten completely by judges, and I must say that the Supreme Court has really disappointed me personally by series of judgments, judgments like Sopa and Bhatia International or Satyam Computers. I think they have put such brakes that today every arbitration award is challenged by a losing party, and the challenge before the court is going to take 10 to 20 years. So the very purpose of arbitration being a quick remedy has been seriously lost out. So I think first our mindset has to change. Then of course we must also, to change that mindset and to instill confidence in the arbitration process amongst the judges, we need institutional arbitration, because the judges distrust the arbitrators, and surprisingly the arbitrators are mostly retired judges. So the sitting judges distrust the retired judges in that sense, because they think that the awards are really can be questioned and are being set aside on all kinds of grounds. So if you have institutional arbitrations, and if you have arbitrators who are really responsible, and I'm not saying that the retired judges have no role to play, but I personally feel that retired judges bring the baggage of procedure, and which is really against the very philosophy of arbitration. Their whole approach is extremely, I would say, unlike good arbitrators. So if you have a good pool of arbitrators, if you have good institutional arbitration, then I think we can change the scenario. Today, lots of Indian arbitration are going outside to foreign, institutional jurisdictions like Singapore or London Court of International Arbitration, or even the International Chamber of Commerce in Paris. Earlier it used to be Switzerland. Why should our arbitrations go out of India? Because we have outstanding pool of lawyers in this country. I personally feel that these lawyers, along with experts from various fields like engineers or architects or other people, other experts, they can provide a fantastic platform or we can create a fantastic platform in India to have institutional arbitration and have a great success. We are losing out. I mean, the legal profession is losing out seriously in terms of opportunities there, and we are ourselves to blame for it.
So moving on to another aspect of alternate dispute resolution, we had spoken to Mr. Sriram Panchu from the Madras High Court, and he had talked a lot about mediation and conciliation. So since all the arbitration, mediation, conciliation are spoken of in the same breath, do you feel that mediation and conciliation also have a future in India?
Undoubtedly, it has a great future. But take for example the Delhi High Court Mediation Center, or for example the center that Mr. Sriram Panchu and all are running in Chennai. They have done tremendous work, and their success rate is extremely high. Mediation undoubtedly will provide a great opportunity and a great alternative dispute resolution mechanism. But the mediation requires skill, and I must say that we don't have that kind of a skill available in large number in this country. So I think if you can create that pool of mediators or conciliators who really know how to do it in a very scientific, because it's now become extremely scientific. It's not just that anybody and everybody can become a mediator. It requires skills. So I think if we can create that, undoubtedly mediation and conciliation can have great future. We need people who can instill confidence in the community at large, and whom judges can then trust that their decisions are therefore really not only acceptable to the parties but acceptable to the society at large. So that's something which we have to work for.
So definitely lawyers cannot just become mediators. You think they need special training?
No, of course I don't think lawyers per se can become good mediators. Of course they need skills, they need training, and there are for example in countries, Western countries, the successful mediators are those who have undergone tremendous training, and which is completely absent in India. So we have to start that kind of a process. We need institutions which can provide that training and opportunities.